And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Call with your car questions at 888 Car Clinic. Folks, have you ever wondered what happens to the batteries that power Chevrolet Volt extended range electric cars when their useful life in the Volt is done? Well, 5 of them are helping keep the lights on at the new General Motors Enterprise Data Center at its Milford Proving Ground. And on the line with us now is Pablo Valencia, GM's Senior Manager, Battery Lifecycle Management, to fill us in. Pablo, this is your first time on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. It's great to have you in the house.
Good morning, Bobby. How are things going for you today?
Very well, and I have questions for you. Before we get into this exciting news from GM, give our Car Clinic listeners and viewers a brief overview of the Chevrolet Volt and its onboard battery system.
You bet. The Chevy Volt battery is a large lithium-ion battery that powers 2 motors in the transmission to move the vehicle forward, reverse, and down the road. It's a really interesting system that's been designed to last the life of the vehicle. It's kind of like an engine or transmission in that it's designed to be very durable, provide that power and energy for an extended period of time. And it's a complex system on one hand, but on the other hand, it's very simple in that it's just a collection of cells.
Well, those collections of cells don't last forever in the car. So share with our Car Clinic listeners the new initiative to power a GM facility with used Volt batteries. How does that work, and are you saving energy?
Well, the neat thing is that the system that we're announcing today is a first real-world application of using Chevy Volt batteries on the grid. In the case of a battery being available, and the reason a battery would come available, they're durable, like I said, as long as an engine or a transmission in a vehicle. But let's say you got a crash vehicle that ends its life a little bit early, and then you got a battery in it. We've got a recycling process. But if you'd rather get some value out of it, which is really what you want to do from a life cycle management standpoint, is continue to get value out of pieces before you go to recycling, then the hot setup is to be able to put it onto a grid application. And we've been talking to the likes of the utilities and Oak Ridge National Lab about this, and they're really excited about having an opportunity to extend the greenness of the life cycle of the Volt. And we've been testing Volt batteries at Oak Ridge National Lab for a couple years in a lab environment. And now we're going to take it and put it in the real world at the Milford Proving Grounds. And the neat thing is that the Volt as a vehicle is developed at the Milford Proving Grounds, and now we're putting a second use application right there at that same facility where the Chevy Volt's developed. Now the Chevy Volt batteries are being connected up to a building. And the way it makes sense from a building standpoint is to connect it up with solar and wind power and provide that energy to the administration building in front of the data center that's just been built there. And what you end up with is the ability to integrate those renewable resources into the administration building.
So that just literally adds life to a long-life battery as it was. We're talking with Pablo Valencia, General Motors Senior Manager, Battery Lifecycle Management. Pablo, as older electric vehicles eventually come off the road or the batteries need to be replaced, share with our Car Clinic listeners and viewers, do you see an expanded afterlife battery programs taking shape in the future in addition to what the initiative and rollout program you're talking about today?
Oh, yeah, this is part of a bigger initiative. This is something we'd like to make possible and demonstrate that, and that's really what the utilities asked us to do is do something that's real, do something that demonstrates the capability, do a real installation, and show that it's not just theory, but it's practice. They're interested in installation, operation, costs, and how easy it is to deploy that. So that's been the good exercise that we've been going through is really showing the potential here in a way that makes it natural. The utilities want to see this type of thing so that they have the confidence. This is a matter of preparation. It's time that it takes to get this type of stuff out there and communicate it. It's important and test it for periods of time. the utilities don't rush into things like energy storage. They got to make sure everything's right, and that's what we're doing, preparing for when eventually the batteries become available.
Well, certainly that's a program that's in the future, but here we're at the future today. Just one final question, Pablo. Give us an example. How many used batteries would be connected in one area, and what would that power? How large of a room or a home? Or just give us an example of what an old Chevy Volt battery ends up its life, but it really doesn't. It powers a home.
Yeah, let's talk about the real application there. So there's all kinds of different things you can do. One is the battery backup. So this will provide 4 hours of backup power to this big administration building, or it could supply power to a single house for the better part of a day. So it's just a matter of what really makes sense there. The other really neat thing is to kind of look at a battery in a power system like this is being able to provide what we call a net zero, which makes it such that it's kind of like a checkbook where you're taking deposits from your solar and battery storage and timing that so that your solar can work at night as well as during the day, and be able to move that energy in a way that allows at the end of the year, just like a checkbook, you'd like it to balance out. You want a zero balance on the grid energy usage over the year. That's kind of the holy grail, is to be able to balance out and say at the end of the year, my solar was able to take care of my energy needs, and a battery system allowing that energy to be used during the day and during the night at specific times, and cut off the peak usages and bringing that smoothly in and integrating those renewables. It's really about getting to the point of being as green as possible.
And it certainly sounds like a plan. Pablo Valencia, Senior Manager, Battery Lifecycle Management. One final question, Pablo, a website where our viewers and listeners can get more information.
At General Motors, if they Google up General Motors, you'll get to a gm.com website, and there's more information right there.
Pablo, thank you so much. It's a fantastic idea. I look forward to learning more about it in the future. Pablo Valencia, great to have you on Car Clinic today.
Thank you for having me.